you. Thanks. So, hi, I'm Larissa. We're a young ad tech platform based in Cologne. We were founded last year in May. And our idea was similar to Advertise, to create advertising that is non-intrusive, that developers want to implement in their content to actually make money. So, first of all, is it working? Yeah. Why ads? May I ask you who is a dev and who thinks about implementing advertising as monetization solution in this room? Anyone? At least, yeah, some of you. So why ads? Why would you ever do that? There have always been ads. There have been ads in newspapers. There have been ads in television, and it was always the engine that actually made a media grow. So without advertising, there wouldn't be private TV, there wouldn't be any free TV opportunities, and there wouldn't be a market for it. And the new trend in advertising is native advertising. So as marketing has evolved, they needed to figure out new ways of, besides simply showing ads and saying this is the product you need to buy. So you need to convince the consumer to actually trust your product. So the trend native advertising is to advertise something without actually advertising it. So for instance, this is a YouTube channel where influencers are presenting products and they review products, and so then you can buy them. Like underneath the channel, they have the direct links to the shopping, and yeah, you can actually buy them. So what we thought would be the advertising for the future in virtual reality is a platform, not this one, that one, to place native ads in VR. So our first idea, the first idea we came up with was product placements for VR. So we didn't think about billboard charts like you do with Advertise. We thought about 3D objects, branded objects that you actually can place into the content that you created, that fit the content and that fit the design of your content. So how did it work? For that product, we targeted the premium content designed for Oculus and Vive. And you simply download our SDK, implement it in your Unity or Unreal project, then you define a placeholder in your game where you actually want to display the 3D object. It could be an object, it could be a billboard chart, whatever you like. Then you go to our platform, book a placement that might be this water bottle, book it for your company, then you get a UUID, you copy that UUID into your Unity game, connect the server with the actual game, and bake the product, and the advertisements will be loaded into the game directly from our servers live. So we would be able to change the advertisement while you are actually, you would be able to book different advertisements on the same placeholder just with one click. So what we've learned in that year is advertisers have no idea about VR. So we thought, oh, it's a big thing, everybody's talking about VR, advertisers might just jump into it, but they're like, okay, come on and show me the Oculus, and then they're like, wow, that's a great gear, and we're like, honestly, we know, but do you want to advertise in the content? And they're like, maybe you're going to wait 5 years and see how it actually develops. So it's really hard to convince them to put this kind of to pay for this kind of advertisement. Then the publishers who are doing games for the Oculus and Vive are mostly financed by HTC or Oculus themselves, so they have no urgent need to advertise at the moment. So they don't rely on the money they would make through advertisements. Then there's no proof of concept. So as you said before, we would love to offer eCPM of $10 to $50. But advertisers or media companies are like, okay, if you want to have that high eCPM or CPM prices, you need to prove that there is more engagement, that you raise more brand awareness. You need to deliver some numbers on, I don't know, like percentage that consumers are more likely to buy your product because they saw it in VR and they interacted with it in VR. So we're really struggling with that at the moment. And media budgets are spread over traditional media. So if you approach a brand, then they're like, okay, talk to my creative agency. And then you talk to the agency, and then they're like, okay, we have advertisements. But we all already spread our budget over the like more traditional media. So they've already booked TV commercials, they already booked banner ads for websites, they're already invested in mobile advertisements. So they're like, we've planned the year from now, maybe you can approach us in 2 years, or maybe we can plan something for the next 2 years. So that's a big issue as well. And then there's a buzz about VR, but the mass market is not using it, which leads to the final and most biggest issue is that you actually need reach to make advertisers pay a lot for advertising. So we have some publishers that signed up for our platform that generated about 10,000 views a month, which is quite a lot for a VR game, but for advertisers it's nothing. So they're like, okay, that's not enough. So they're not very open to advertise in this new media. So we realized, okay, this product placements might not work, so let's shift our focus a bit, and then we decided not to target the premium stuff anymore, but to target mobile gears and the mobile platforms, because there's way more reach in those in those platforms, in those areas. Yeah, and so we created a new SDK. Similar procedure. You download our SDK for it, you implement it into your Unity project, you add an activity to the point where you want the ad to start. It can be either a pre-roll or interstitial or any kind of activity you'd like to. Then you go to our platform again, book in the ad room or the advertisement that we are offering. You get the UUID, you copy the UUID, implement it in the SDK, save everything, bake everything, upload it in a Play Store or somewhere else, and then the advertisement will be shown in your game. Issues we faced with this one is, again, advertisers still have no idea. They don't even have an idea about mobile VR. They love to try the Daydream, they love to try the Samsung Gear, but still, they're just trying the gear. They're not seeing any advantage of actually advertising in the content that's right now available. Again, no proof of concept, same as before. If you want to get a high CPM, you need to prove that there's actually more value than you'd have from a mobile advertisement. Then another issue we faced is considering mobile VR, you have a limitation in terms of processing power and internet connection. So in our office, we all have like a Samsung at least 6 or 5, but we realized that most of the users might have a Samsung 4, and that there are different approaches that there are different issues with the processing power, and that the internet connection, okay, you might use it while you're in your Wi-Fi, but normally people are walking around and they're just using their mobile connection, and you don't want to spend all of your data volume on just seeing one ad. So another issues. Then we realized that cardboard games have a really short life cycle. So we have several publishers that release one app every week, because they go up in views like very quickly, then people delete them, and that's it. And then the games die. And so it's a very fluent market. Then we have the problem that there's not enough CPM or CPA that we can offer the publishers to be attractive. So they're like below $20 or below $15, they wouldn't consider booking an ad. And as we are relying on other partners as well and can't offer the highest CPMs, they're not into that too much. And then another issue, there are no tech standards in the industry. So if you're developing for the cardboard, it's different than developing for the Gear VR. And you need to figure out what to target and where to start off, and where to actually place the ads in. And then again, reach, another issue. Yeah, but we still love VR, and we still truly believe that this is going to be a huge market soon, maybe in 5 years, maybe next year. Actually, it's going to be next year because everyone keeps on telling it's next year. It was this year, but it's going to be this next, we don't know. So what we've learned, we have to educate marketers. So we have to invest time to actually show marketers why this is a valuable media and why there's a need for advertising in it. We need to make ads simpler than we want them to be. So we wanted to have like the most beautiful design 3D objects for our product placements. Then you realize, okay, they might be too big. The loading of it, like live into your game, it takes too much power. No, it's not working. So right now we are delivering 360-degree ads as well as a simple ad room with a video advertisement, which works quite well. So we should focus on that first, and then as the market is evolving, the ads might evolve. Then we have to think about processing power, internet connection, and this stuff. Always keep that in mind, that if you're doing something for mobile VR, you need to be aware of people that might not have the best devices. Then product placement might be huge. Right now we are focusing on the ad rooms, but product placements are definitely the most beautiful and natively way to advertise. But it will need some time to actually bring advertisers to pay for it. As the industry grows, revenue grows, so the more reach you get, the more CPM you will get, the more everything you get. So we are relying on a growing market. And then in the end, just test, build, measure, learn, try everything. If it's not working, it's not working. But give it a try and at least learn what to do better. So like we do, focusing on the ad room. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. And here are our contact details. I'm here with my colleague, who's a tech guy. If you might have questions concerning the tech specs, ask Niels. Yeah, that's it. Are there any questions?
Yeah, is there any questions? Over there.
In next May, new European General Data Protection Regulation will be introduced, and it requires people to ask consent from users for profiling, and that's quite a thing to do in the mobile advertisement, even when the mobile came to asking the consents and getting the permissions from the users. So do you have any vision on how do you ask consents or pop-ups for profiling in virtual reality space so that users don't freak out and don't deny the profiling?
I think it's really hard for us to ask the user directly, so we will ask the game developer or developer to add in their privacy policy that there's advertisement, and the user would need to agree on not allowed. I didn't get that.
So
but it's not up. I mean.
So the new regulation requires you to actually have a clear question in a game. It can be a shift board in the user interface, but it cannot be just privacy policy.
Yeah, but I mean, for the ad room, that's not a problem because we're free to do everything we want to do in the ad room. So we can ask. Yeah, we can ask. I mean, we can ask in the room, are you okay with seeing an ad? If you click no, then there won't be an ad delivered, but then you won't get a view.
Fine, yeah.
So the publisher won't get any money, which would be a shame. For the product placements, we would definitely need to think it through. But as we're focusing on the ad room, we'd figure out a solution.
Cool. Is there any other questions out there?
Hello, Alexey, Planaplan VR. I think that product placement is a great idea. I definitely like it. The question is how to measure impressions, because when we are talking about usual ads, we can measure impressions by views, and we can count if it was viewed or not. But if you imagine that you come to your own room or into your own apartment, you can see 20 branded things in one view. And if we use your idea of product placement, how do we measure it and how do we get paid from the advertiser?
So the product placements idea was, so the product placements were meant to be implemented in the game, so you wouldn't be transferred to a room to see product placements. We could do that as well. We could even track in the room how often you've seen one object, how often it's been in the field of view, how often you interacted with it. But as I said, for the ad room, we are not planning product placements. For the ad room, we have kind of video ads or something else being shown. And with the product placements, we can track, I guess, interactions, views, how often it's been in the field of view, kind of a heat map thing. So it's a bit different, yeah, a different approach for the two ideas.